Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting a company update from Labrador Gold, which trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol LAB. Joining me today is Lab's President and CEO, Roger Moss. Roger, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks, Megan. It's good to be back here.
Absolutely. And before we get into the latest update, for those new to Labrador Gold story, could you give us an overview of your Kingsway property and perhaps discuss some of your discoveries to date on the project?
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get started here, we have to put up our disclaimer. So forward-looking statements are always part of these presentations that we make. We expect things to go as we see them, but that's not always the case. So just viewers should be aware of that. And for those new to the story, Labrador Gold is working in Newfoundland and Labrador, specifically on the island of Newfoundland, and our Kingsway project is our main project right now. We really like working out in that area. It's a great jurisdiction, very supportive of mineral exploration and mining, and we're very happy to work there. We've been working in Newfoundland and Labrador since 2017, so we have quite a bit of experience, and that experience has generally been very good. Exploration team has been doing well, as I'll show you. We have some very experienced geologists out there, and they've been a really strong leaders in what we're trying to do here out at Kingsway. So and what we're doing, we started a 100,000 meter drilling program back in April of 2021, sorry, and we are now about 82,000 meters through that, and we have strong cash position with $12 million in the bank. So the remaining drilling of that program is fully covered.
And earlier this week, Labrador Gold had some news from your Pristine target located northeast of Big Vein. Can you walk us through some of the results from this follow-up program?
Yeah, absolutely. Just here's where we are at Kingsway in the blue. Here's pretty much surrounded by newfound gold, as you can see there in the yellow. And Pristine is located right here. And so it's Big Vein is our main target, and just north of Big Vein is the Pristine target. So far at Kingsway, we've developed and drilled 6 targets, and we found gold in 5 of them. And Pristine is a target that we looked at back in 2022 and did quite a bit of drilling there. We had some good results, and but they were typically lower grade in the sort of 2 to 3 grams a ton over some significant intervals, but we weren't seeing the grades that we had been seeing at Big Vein, and so we sort of put it on the back burner for a while. But I'd always wanted to go back there, and because I thought that there was more to be found there. So that's really what we did. We finished drilling up at Dropkick in the north and moved the drill down to Pristine, and we started testing a new idea that the mineralization of Pristine might be much shallowly plunging than we had expected in the past, and that's kind of what we found. And so this interval that we announced earlier this week, almost 12 grams a ton over 6 meters, and it's pretty shallow, 91 meters down hole. It's about 60 meters vertical, and that includes higher grades of 30.6 and 82.2 that lost over 3/4 of a meter. So those are grades that we haven't seen anywhere on the property other than Big Vein, and so that's pretty exciting. And the other thing that was noticeable here is that we had 77 grains of visible gold in that intersection, and we've seen visible gold at Golden Glove, at Big Vein, and Dropkick, and now at Pristine. But 77 grains of visible gold in that intersection is as good or better than the intersections that we've had at Big Vein. So that's really exciting, and obviously something that we're going to want to follow up on.
Right, and I was going to ask you that. Is this an area for immediate follow-up?
Yeah, absolutely, and we are following it up as we speak. And one of the things about the visible gold for listeners that have been following the story for a while, they'll remember that this discovery was made by following up visible gold grains in till samples, and we actually started drilling at Pristine just up ice of a sample that contained 165 grains of gold, and 158 of those were pristine, and that's where the name comes from, Pristine, as in pristine gold grains. So that was interesting. So now we found visible gold in the drill core as well. So we know that we're on to probably what was the source of those till samples. But it's interesting that about 400 meters to the west of Pristine, we had another till sample that contained 311 grains of gold, 267 of which were pristine, and we haven't found the source of that yet. So that's in addition to following up this particular intersection at Pristine, 400 meters to the west, we have a whole other target that we still have to follow up and find the source of that gold, and potentially it could be better than what we see at Pristine. And in terms of a comparison between what we see at Pristine and what we see at Big Vein, the closest sample to Big Vein, the closest till sample to Big Vein, also had 165 grains of gold in it, and 153 of those were pristine. So very comparable between what we see at Pristine and what we saw at Big Vein. So, it's I think there's more to be found at Pristine, and it's certainly something that we're going to be looking at in the remainder of this program.
And you mentioned the gap, a distance of 700 meters between Pristine and Big Vein that will be drilled during this campaign. Is the strategy to continue to step along strike from these two targets, or does the company have targets within the gap that will be the immediate focus for drilling?
Yeah, so this is the gap, and we call it the gap because it is a gap. As you mentioned, it's like 700 meters between Big Vein and Pristine, where we haven't done any drilling, and we're really keen to see what's there. We are developing targets. You can see these are so this particular map shows some of the structures that run through there between Big Vein and Pristine, and so obviously structure is very important in these systems. So we will be targeting those structures. We also have pretty good coverage of geophysics, both airborne magnetics as well as ground mag and VLF across this area. So that'll be helping with the targeting there. And we also have good coverage in soil geochemistry in that 700 meter gap. And so putting all that together should give us some really good targets for when we start drilling there. And we're actually waiting. We're waiting for the permit to drill there. We expect it to becoming any day now, and that's going to be pretty exciting to see if we can expand Big Vein northwards of Pristine towards the south and join those up.
Absolutely. And the company has been busy advancing targets for this current program. Could you walk us through what investors can look out for from the company for the remainder of your 100,000 meter campaign?
Yeah, so I think this is something that we put together. This was our exploration plan for this year, and it's going, I think, very well so far. We've already made another discovery at Dropkick, and that went really well. As I mentioned, we finished our first phase of drilling there now. The drill has moved down to Pristine, where we got that great intersection. Very encouraging result there. And we're also looking at Peter Easton over to the west of Big Vein. That's an area that we're drilling right now. And the two areas, we mentioned the gap, so that's in between Big Vein and Pristine. But the other area of interest is between Big Vein and Golden Glove down in the south, basically on the southern boundary with Newfound Gold. And we know the Appleton Fault Zone runs along that area. We haven't done a lot of work down there. Down there, we're relying mostly on geophysics and prospecting. And we're just completing a ground geophysical survey right now that will give us good coverage from the southern boundary up to Big Vein. And that'll be used in large part for our targeting. The permits or permit application has been submitted some time ago for that area, and I believe in the application we applied for something like 90 drill holes to be drilled in that gap between Golden Glove and Big Vein. We probably won't be drilling all of those in the current program, but as long as we can get the permit for them, then we may be able to do it in a subsequent program should we decide to do that. So yeah, lots of work going forward, and we still have, like I said, 18,000 meters of drilling to do, and I think we're going to have some good intersections coming up in the next part or the latter part of this year.
Now, to finish things off, Roger, is there anything else you'd like to leave our viewers with before we part ways?
No, I think that's pretty much what where we're at right now. I think that we will have news coming out on a regular basis based on the drilling. We're also doing more generative work along the Appleton Fault Zone, and that's going to be obviously feeding into the drilling and the targeting, especially in the gap and especially between Big Vein and Golden Glove. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. I think I'm still very optimistic about what we have here for the remainder of this year, and obviously we're well funded to take care of that, to take care of the program we have planned. So yeah, stay tuned. I think it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Well, once again, we want to thank you for your time today, Roger, and look forward to having you back on soon for another Labrador Gold update.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Megan.